If you're talking supercars, then brands like Lamborghini, Porsche, Ferrari, they're the obvious choices. But a Nissan? Well, yeah. You see, this isn't just another Nissan Z car, and it's not another half-baked Japanese sports car that just looks the goods. This is the all-new Nissan GT-R. Like the original GT-R, performance is the name of the game. A 3.8 litre V6 has 2 turbos, good enough for 357 kilowatts of power. It's matched to a tricky 6-speed twin-clutch automatic that sits in between the rear wheels, but sends drive to all 4 corners. It is literally a technological tour de force, from the nitrogen-filled tyres to the adjustable suspension and the computer game-inspired colour screen. But there's one other thing the GT-R has in spades, and that's heritage. And it all started here, on Mount Panorama at Bathurst. Cast your mind back almost 20 years and the first GT-R arrived here to take on the Ford Falcons and Holden Commodores, and despite their V8 engines, it absolutely blitzed them, hosed them. So much so that the organisers changed the rules. They effectively outlawed the GT-R. But that hasn't stopped it going on to become a cult, a classic, a car that people love, admire and respect. It's pretty easy to see why the GT-R went so well around here. It just slingshots out of corners. Another thing that works so brilliantly around here is the four-wheel drive system. You've got some quite tight corners, but floor at mid-corner, the computer works out where the drive needs to be sent, and it just hooks up and goes. But while it's great to be experiencing the GT-R around Bathurst, there's one tiny problem with it. And it's this. You see, for most of the year, Bathurst is a regular road with speed limits, road rules, other traffic, everything. It's not exactly an ideal place to test a supercar like this. But that's not going to be a problem here. Now, as well as about half a K of straight bitumen, what I've also got is a timing computer. It works off satellites, gives you pretty accurate 0 to 100 times, quarter mile times, all that sort of stuff. So here goes nothing. Fire up. Now, one thing I've got to do is put it into race mode for things like the stability control and the suspension. And it's time to go. Build it up on the throttle, 1 foot on the brake, no launch control, but when it goes, fires, whether on 80, 100, 120, 140, 200 metres, we haven't done that yet. All of a sudden we're at 400 and hard on the brakes in a big way because we're doing about 210 k's an hour towards the end of that. Now it's time to check the figures. 11.9 seconds. At 195.8 kilometres an hour. That is for a standard road car. That is absolutely phenomenal acceleration. We'll go down and look at... Have a look at this. For the acceleration, the G-forces under acceleration is almost 1 G. And braking, 1.38 G. So 1.4 times the force of gravity. 3.9 to 4 seconds, 0 to 100 seems to be about where it's at. One of the most amazing things is just how consistent it is. We're just doing run after run and it keeps pumping out 4 seconds, 0 to 100, so incredible. Well, there it is, the 21st century version of Godzilla. It has huge shoes to fill, but it does an absolutely cracking job. That said, it is not perfect. It's still a pretty heavy car, so that takes its toll on brakes and, of course, fuel economy. And if I want to be really, really picky, things like these door handles, they're sort of annoying for the sake of it. That said, though, the acceleration is brutal and the grip is phenomenal. This thing is an absolute weapon.